All right, welcome back to the channel. This week we have the 2.0 for the Pittsburgh Steelers 7 round mock draft. Um, and I think this should be a fun one because the Steelers have done some things that I did expect them to do, and then the Steelers have also done some things that I did not expect them to do. So if you were around for the first Steelers 7 round mock draft, my pre-free agency needs for the Pittsburgh Steelers were uh wide receiver and linebacker with a bunch of question marks positions like quarterback, running back, or sorry, backup running back, my bad, guard, tackle, corner. And then I also had a front seven depth need as well. So I will talk about my post free agency needs for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but let's talk about some of the moves that we've made. Um, so uh, the first one is that we signed Rico Dowdle to a 2 year, $12.25 million contract. I know this is a decent signing. I do like Rico Dowdle as a RB2. I do think that he is similar to Jalen Warren. And I thought the value when it comes to 2 year, 2.125 or sorry, 12.25 million, I thought that was also good as well. So I was fine with this signing. I would have, maybe tried to like get somebody with more receiving potential like Kenneth Gainwell had for us, but he obviously left and went to the Bucks. Um, but I was fine with the signing. Also, Rico has some previous time with Mike McCarthy from Dallas. And then the big move that's really being talked about from the Steelers all season is the Michael Pittman Jr. trade. This kind of came out of nowhere. This happened right as like free agency had started, or maybe right before it started. After the Colts re-signed Alec Pierce to the 4 year, 100 and I think it was 14, 118, something like that, $1 million contract that they signed him to. And then all of a sudden this broke. Um, Now I was a little worried at first because I thought we were gonna have to give up real draft capital and really didn't. We acquired Pittman with a 7th round pick in exchange for a 6th round pick. Nothing for nothing, in my opinion. We traded 214 for 230. Right, we moved back 16 spots in the late day three. Fine with that, and we got Michael Pittman Jr. Now we did also give him an extension, a 3 year, $59 million deal. So, we did give up the money aspect of in that deal, but I was very fine with this move. If you don't know me, I'm a big Michael Pittman Jr. fan, and have been for a long time. So to get him, on my favorite team, one was a plus, but two, when you needed wide receiver help, I thought this was a good move. And I think he does, pair well alongside DK Metcalf. We signed Jack Driscoll. Not really going to talk about that too much. Former Eagle. He started 9 games for them in 2021. But he's mainly a right side of the offensive line guy, right guard, right tackle. He has played some left tackle, left guard here and there, which that is where our needs are currently at on the offensive line. So I definitely think that he's just one of those, veteran, bring him in, kind of like Andrews Pete last year. Maybe if somebody gets injured, he has to, fill in, but veteran depth piece on the offensive line. Simple as that for him. We did get Cam Hayward on a new extension contract, which is good after his 2 amazing years he's had. We re-signed Azizi Otamiwo. I still don't know how to say his name properly on a 1 year deal. Good little depth piece on the defensive line. We re-signed Cole Holcomb on a 2 year, $5 million deal. I thought that was good value. Hoping that he can get back to what he was before that crazy leg injury. Jamel Dean, 3 years. This was the other big move in my opinion. Jamel Dean, 3 year, $36.75 million deal. I thought this was a good move. I like Jamel Dean. He's, a very good corner. And to have him out there with Joey Porter Jr., I think it's going to be a very good move for the Steelers in the secondary. We also re-signed Asante Samuel Jr. On a 1 year, $4 million deal. Thought that was good. He was good for us last year. One of the top guys that's not I guess, a starter when it comes to the cornerback room for our team. And then we added two safeties, Jaquan Brisker on a 1 year, $5.5 million deal, and Darnell Savage on a 1 year deal as well. Brisker, I think maybe might end up being a starter But Savage, I think, is more of a depth piece in the secondary. We also, this is not on here, we also added Sebastian Joseph Day, defensive lineman from the Chargers, which I thought was also a good move as well. Or Chargers or Titans. Oh man, Sebastian Joseph Day. I think he's played for both. I think he's played for both. Um, he is already on our PFF roster over here. Um, oh my goodness, Titans. Okay. He's definitely played for both though. Now I'm interested here. Let's see, Sebastian Joseph Day. All right, sorry, he came from the Titans. He used to be a Charger and a Ram. Okay. So, anyways, I had to do that real quick. I was just interested. Um, so looking at our roster now, how does it shape up? The quarterback room is obviously still the big question mark. I had that question mark going into pre-free agency draft needs because everybody's just kind of like, hey, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I'm not so sure that's the case. I wouldn't have banked on it, but hey, that's where we're at. That's what situation we're in. But in the quarterback room, we still got Mason Rudolph, still got Will Howard. And I think there's realistically five options for the Pittsburgh Steelers at quarterback in 2026. Will Howard, Aaron Rodgers, I think Kirk Cousins is an option. Um, Ty Simpson, and then question mark, right? Question mark. When that question mark might be Mason Rudolph, it might be, somebody later in the draft like Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller. Please God, no. But yeah, that's definitely, and I want to talk about needs here in a minute, but that's definitely, number one. Wide receiver room that now includes Michael Pittman Jr. and DK Metcalf. We still do have Roman Wilson and Ben Skoranek. But outside that, really nobody worth anything. Definitely gonna have to make some adds to that still. Running back room, I think is fine now with Warren, Rico, Caleb Johnson. Tight end room was fine already with Darnell and Pat, but I do still think there's possibility that we could go get a third tight end. I think that's more of a later draft option with how many picks we have. Got Zach Frazier at center. We did lose Isaac Seumalo to the Cardinals, so we do have Mason McCormick at right guard, but we do not have a current left guard, in my opinion. It was rumored that we were signing Brock Hoffman, the veteran guard from the Cowboys. However, that supposedly was not true. And then we still got Troy Fautano out there at right tackle. And then I think this is going to be a battle for left tackle between Broderick Jones and Dylan Cook. But I think you could say that left tackle is a need as well. Cornerback, we're still good there. We got Joey Porter Jr. Or I would say we are in a better position there now. Got Joey Porter Jr., got Jamel Dean, got Brandon Eccles, who played in the slot for us a lot last year. Got Asante Samuel back. We do still have Corey Trice on roster, who has experience with us. We did take Dante Kent in the seventh round last year. He didn't touch the field though. Safety room, I think, is fine now. We've got Jalen Ramsey, whether you want to call him a safety or a corner, whatever. We got Deshaun Elliott, who's been good for us when he's not been injured, and then we brought in Brisker and Savage. I do think the secondary is fine. I think that you could still pick a corner at some point, especially with Joe Porter Jr. coming up on a contract year. Um, I think Brandon Eccles' deal was only 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Asante Samuel was a 1 year deal. Um, we haven't had good luck signing veteran corners the past few years. Just saying that, but I think Jamel Dean is a little bit different than a Darius Slay or a oh my God, who did we sign? Oh, Darius Slay. I can't think of who the other person. Oh, we traded for William Jackson. I think that's what I'm thinking of. Um, I think you could say safety could be in play, but like I I don't think so. Maybe again because Savage and Brisker were 1 year deals and Jalen Ramsey is just and Sean Elliott's injury prone. We do also have so many picks that it's like you might as well take one at some point, I feel like. Linebacker. Now, linebacker is what I wanted to talk about. This is when I was talking about that the Steelers have not done some things I expected them to do, and that was sign a linebacker. We did re-sign Cole Holcomb, but like I said, he has not been the same since his big leg injury. Peyton Wilson just has not like his rookie year was fine, but then last year he was not good. It was always expected, going into it. Hey, he's going to be decent in coverage, but run game he's going to lack a little bit. And then last year he was awful in coverage. Malik Harrison, you know what that's going to be? That's a pure run stopper linebacker. And then Patrick Queen, man, it's just been awful for us. There's a lot of Steelers fans, including myself, that it's like, hey, he's a real trade or cut candidate. And then defensive line, I think we're looking fine at now. We've still got Cam, we've got Derek Carmen, we've got Keanu Benton, we've got Y.A. Black, we brought in Sebastian Joseph Day, we got Odomiwo back. Like, I think we've got a legit, you know, defensive line group, IDL group, and then obviously at edge rusher, you've got Nick Herbig, you've got Jack Sawyer, you got Alex Highsmith, you got TJ Watt. Now, I wouldn't be surprised with how Nick Herbig is acting out if he gets traded. I wouldn't be surprised if TJ Watt's a trade candidate for money reasons. I don't know. But going into the draft, my post, I guess, we're only a week two in to free agency anyways, but post free agency mock draft is or sorry, needs for the draft season are quarterback is a official need now. I'm not even going to question mark it anymore. Quarterback is an official need. I would say a smaller wide receiver, like a screen type of guy, is needed. Running back, we're good. I think a like tight end three is needed. I think left guard is a need. I think left tackle is still a question mark. And then I think secondary depth guys are needed at both positions. Linebacker is a need. And I think edge depth is a need. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers got gifted like I think it was 4 comp picks. So they are looking nice when it comes to draft capital now. I mean, look at this. I mean, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. The Pittsburgh Steelers have 13 draft picks now. Now, if you've never been here before and you skip to this part, I need you to hear this. I usually do 2 to 3 drafts in a video, and I am calling this a 7-round mock draft video. What I am going to do is I'm going to play with a scenario in the third one, and in the second and the third, I'm only going to do the first 5 rounds. Mainly because in the first 5 rounds, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 picks in the first 5 rounds. And so I'm not going to bore y'all with these last 4 picks 3 times in a row. So, anyways, getting into the draft, let's see how the board falls for us and see what we can do here. So I am really starting to think that, you know, I think that I don't think there's any way Cornell Tate gets to us. If he does, you got to take him. But I think Spencer Fano and Monroe Freeling are in play if they're on the board, especially Freeling being a left tackle. However, from Georgia, maybe you don't want to mess with that. But I think the 3 main options, I don't think Mekhi Lemon gets to us either, but if he does, I think that's a real possibility as well. I do think Jordan Tyson is in play. I just think he's too redundant with what we have, in my opinion. But CJ Allen, who did go before us, and Vega Ioane, who also did go before us, I think are 2 legit options. Especially Vega Ioane playing left guard all 3 years at Penn State. Like, I think that's a legit option because he fills right in replacing guys like Sayamalo 1-for-1, easy as that, right? However, all of them are off the board. So with how this board has played out for us, there's a few options for me. I think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is an option. I know that sounds dumb after we just signed 2 safeties. I think Avion Terrell is an option at corner. I know you just signed Jamel Dean, but I think that's an option. I think Omar Cooper Jr. is an option, and I think he does fit very well. 6 foot 204. I think he fits very well with Michael Pittman Jr. and DK Metcalf. I know he's not that type of screen receiver that I was referring to. I think in that opinion, I think it would be Casey Concepcion, who I just don't know if I feel comfortable taking at 21. I think Blake Miller could be in tackle. However, he was a right or said in tackle. I think Blake Miller could be in play with the potential tackle need. However, he played right tackle at Clemson. I think Caden Proctor could be in play shift into left guard after playing left tackle at Alabama. I think Cade McDonald could be in play. I think there's a lot. Caleb Banks, Peter Woods. There's a lot that I think could be at play. But this is what I'm going to do here. This might be boring, and people can say it's an over pick, whatever, 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 right? Oh, actually, I don't know. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Omar Cooper Jr. Well, I think y'all are going to see what I was referring to. I was about to do there in the next draft. And then this is just as simple as that. Jacob Rodriguez still on the board there at 53. I don't think that's going to happen in real life. I think he might end up sneaking in the first round or going early second. But that's as simple as that. We'll take Jacob Rodriguez there at pick 53. Then we got pick 76. I think this is from the George Pickens trade, I'm pretty sure. And then this becomes interesting because we went wide receiver three. We went linebacker. Garrett Nussmeier is on the board here. So I do think that's a possibility. Unless Aaron's back, if Aaron's back, I don't know if you use a pick this early on a quarterback. But I do think at this point, which I was gonna say you look at guard, and I think Keelan Rutledge is an option, but he just went before this. Now he did play his career at right guard at Georgia Tech. Um, you know, I think Billy Shrouth, however you say it, is an option, but later. Same with Bo Stevens. Um, so we might target those guys later. So this makes this pick interesting because from here, dude, I mean, I think our linebacker room is so bad. I think you could go Kyle Lewis or Anthony Hill Jr. here and it be okay. Um, like I said, I think Garrett Nussmeier's gonna play here. Deion Burks is another one of those receivers that I'm talking about, like screen guys. Him and Antonio Williams, Casey Concepcion. But I'm seeing a name that keeps on. I keep on seeing a name, and I think that you know, I think that's just the guy here for me. Yeah. I keep on seeing Romello Height. I like Romello Height a lot more than other people do. So I'm going to take him there at pick 76. At pick 85, I'm going to go Garrett Nussmeier. Uh, because why not? And then I didn't see this guy go, and I saw him on the board a minute ago, so I'm going to take him. And that's going to be Dante Corleone out of Cincinnati. So I think it's a very good start to the draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you get Omar Cooper Jr., you get Jacob Rodriguez, Romello Heights, an edge rusher that inserts into that room, especially if Nick Herbig or TJ Watt are not on the roster after these next season or whatever, or even before the season starts. Get Garrett Nussmeier. I think that's a solid option with him, Will Howard, to learn from Aaron Rodgers. Dante Corleone's there. Pick 99. Insert him as a depth piece into the defensive line room. I'm seeing Decario Davis, but I'm seeing a great option that I didn't even think about earlier. That's going to be Brian Parker, the second out of Duke. He was a tackle over there and is projected to move inside, I think, to guard or center at this point. And he was a right tackle. Yes, right tackle to be exact over there at Duke. But I think that's a possibility. I think that's a solid depth piece, at the very least there. For us, I saw Bo Stevens is off the board. I think we can target guard at 151, 159 with a Marjorie Adams, who I do like, out of Texas A&M. I think he's a legit option as well. But the later you get, the least you get potential that you do get a guy that's going to start for you. And I'm seeing there's a lot of guys here, bro. I like Charles Demings as a secondary depth piece. I like Torian York as another linebacker. I like JC Davis as a tackle option. I'm gonna take I'm gonna take Torian York because I think he'd be my highest ranked player on the board at the time. And I'm hoping that some of these guys might stick around. They don't. Wow, none of them do. But that's okay because I'm gonna go get Nate Borkacher out of Texas A&M, blocking tight end. Um, I think it's a good pickup for our tight end room. I see Diego Pound sitting here. I think you could target. Oh, that's two A&M players in a row. I think you could target tackle here. Haven't taken one yet. I'm trying to think here. We got us a receiver. I do think you could take another receiver, but that'll probably be one of these late picks for me. I've got an interior offensive lineman. I have not attacked the tackle yet. I did get an IDL. I did get an edge rusher. I've got two linebackers. I've got a tight end. I've got a quarterback. Hmm. I don't mind taking Diego Pounds here. Never mind. I see Kevin Coleman Jr., who is a player that I like a lot higher than other people like him. So I'm going to take him out of Missouri there, to add him into that wide receiver. Oh, I just saw Caden Curry go. Dang it. Oh, and Tanner Koziel. But we did. Wow, Skylar Go Howard goes a pick before us. That's a guy that I like a lot. They must have dropped him on the rankings again, bro. Um, hmm, there's not a whole lot that I like here. Um, Eli Heidenreich. It seems like a type of player that Arthur Smith would have liked right there. Um, I've already taken two receivers, bro, and I just don't. Maybe like 237, we take one. Took a quarterback. This is why I didn't want to do a 7 round mock draft 3 times in a row. We've taken a tight end. I don't think there's ever a bad reason to add on, guys on the offensive line. So we're gonna take gosh, I learned how to say his name and now I don't remember it. It's like double F from Wake Forest is how we're gonna say it now. I was gonna take Lorenzo Styles Jr. here. Yeah, I think that's an option. Oh wow, you know what? That's the position I've been missing. I haven't taken anybody in the secondary. I think Lorenzo Styles Jr. is definitely an option here because there's some corners that I do like down the board that I think might still be there at 224, 237. Jaden Kennedy. I think I like Devontae Smith out of Notre Dame the most here. Jalen Gobo. Yeah. Do I want to take Devontae Smith or Jaden Kennedy? I'm gonna take Devontae Smith out of Notre Dame, not the receiver on the Eagles, the corner from Notre Dame. And I wish Desmond Reed would have stayed there. I would have taken him just to take him. And running back is a position that we haven't taken. We really don't need one, but we'll go take one for fun. And that'll be Tyrion Stewart out of Virginia Tech there to round out this first mock draft. So, like I said, it does get kind of tough there doing, all 7 rounds, with having, 13 picks. But I'm fine with that draft, man. We get Omar Cooper Jr. I think that solidifies that wide receiver room for real. You get an edge rushing depth piece with Romello Height. You get Jacob Rodriguez to add to that linebacker room, which is desperately needed. Same with Torian York. He's more of a depth piece though at the linebacker room, whether a starter like Jacob Rodriguez is. You get Garrett Nussmeier, who I think does have starter potential in the NFL, but I don't know how much I actually like him that much. Um, Dante Corleone, an IDL, just depth piece there from Cincinnati. Brian Parker the second, I think is a guy that could potentially play all 5 positions, mainly more on the interior, though. Those three on the interior of the offensive line. Depth piece more so than anything. Nate Borkature is kind of like a blocking tight end. You might put him in on run schemes. Kevin Coleman Jr. comes in as a wide receiver depth piece, with Omar Cooper Jr. And then we get double F from Wake Forest as a tackle depth piece. Lorenzo Styles and Devontae Smith as depth pieces in that secondary. And Terry and Stewart there from Virginia Tech as a depth piece of that running back room. So this time around, we're gonna go 5 rounds. We're gonna get right into it, and we're gonna hope Vega Ioane is here. He is not. He went at pick 17. CJ Allen at 15. Monroe Frayling at 16. But this becomes interesting because I see Jermod McCoy here. Now, Jermod McCoy, if you don't know anything about him for some reason, he was a guy that had an amazing 2024 on film, and then was hurt all year last year and did not play for the Tennessee Volunteers. I think this gives you an option to bring in a guy and tell him, "Hey, take your time to be ready, and when you're ready, let's do it." Right? And that if he is the guy, hey, Joey Porter Jr., we can let you walk now because we've got Jerron McCoy. Or keep you and we let Jamel Dean go. Maybe the Jamel Dean experience doesn't work out the way we want it to, right? So I think that's a legit option. That's kind of like my process with Avion Terrell, just not on the hurt side more so than anything. I think Avion Terrell just plays like Joey Porter Jr. does, kind of scrappy and everything, and so I think that would be a good fit. That's why I was talking about him in the last draft as an option. Omar Cooper Jr. is here again. Um, but the thing I was talking about last draft that I was thinking about doing that I didn't do was Emmanuel Pregnon. Now he did play left guard at Oregon, just like Vega Ioane plays left guard or played left guard at Penn State. And so even though Jermon McCoy is here and that is enticing to me, and I stated my reason why, I'm gonna take Pregnon here, gets that left guard solidified, and now it's like, okay, what are we gonna do about left tackle, right? That's all it is from there. So we are here at pick 53 now. I see Jake Golday, I see Skylar Bell. That's kind of like the first two names that really call out to me. Keith Abney was before we signed Jamel Dean. Um, I think R. Mason Thomas is a legit option here if you were to trade TJ Watt or Nick Herbig. Um, Same with Derek Moore. Uh, I do like Jake Golday over Josiah Trotter. But man, I just think that linebacker is such a need that I think it's gonna have to be Jake Golday here. I do like Skylar Bell a lot. However, I think you can find a receiver in third or fourth round that is reasonable. Um, and like I like Elijah Surratt, man, but I just don't that what I was talking about Jordan Tyson being kind of redundant with what you have. Elijah Surratt is really redundant with what you have. I would almost be willing to not take Deion Burks here and attack something else and take like Brennan Thompson later. Ted Hurst isn't a screen guy, but Ted Hurst I think is a later option as well. But the question is where do you go here? Took Pregnon, you took Golday. So it's like you really got two big needs. I don't think you take Nussmeier here. There's not a tackle I would take this early. Is it just you take Romello Height again? Or is it that you double down at linebacker with Kyle Lewis? I think that's the move. That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna double down with Kyle Lewis at linebacker. I'm gonna take Nussmeier again here at 85. Um, mm, I think Brennan Thompson goes off the board before 121, so I'm gonna take him here at 99. I did really want to take Malik Muhammad there though, and he goes. So does Decario Davis. So does Bud Clark. Hey, Landon, they must have upped Landon Robinson a ton in the simulator. Nice. So we've got a guard, we've got two linebackers, got a quarterback, got a receiver. I'm gonna attack either edge rusher or secondary here. I do like Jalen Kilgore and Charles Demings. You can get Demings at 135 though. Michael Taft, I think you can get at 135 if you wanted to go safety. D-line, edge rusher. I'm good on these guys. K Park's fine. I think you can get him later though. Tyree Sack and Nadam Tucker, Caden Curry, like all the guys that I'm really seeing here, I think you can get later, except for Jalen Kilgore. So I'm gonna go Jalen Kilgore there, and this might be a jump, but I'm gonna Caden Curry or Tucker. I'm gonna take Tucker, and then Tim Keenan went. Did Demonte Capehart go? He did not. I'm gonna take Demonte Capehart. So we've got us a guard, we've got us a linebacker, two linebackers, we've got us a quarterback, we've got us a receiver, we've got us a corner, we've got us an edge rusher, we've got us an IDL. I think you could look tackle here, and I'm seeing Diego Pounds, and I think that just makes it easy on me here. I do think tight end's an option as well. Maybe Eli Raridan, Eli Raridan, Michael Taft, Diego Pounds. I'm gonna go Michael Taft out of Texas actually. help out that safety room that's a little injury prone and getting old. So that one's a lot more simple with the 5 rounds. And I've kind of already explained it, but we'll look at it again real quick. Pregnon steps in as your left guard day one. Oh, they don't like this draft at all. Wow. Bottom 19%. That's the lowest I've ever seen. Wow. But Pregnon steps in. Golday and Lewis step in. Well, Lewis is more of a depth piece, but Golday probably steps in with Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, day one. Lewis is probably more of a third down backer, coverage guy. Nussmeier, again, I explained that last draft. Brennan Thompson, steps in as a speedy, smaller, speedy guy. You're going to catch some screens, going to try to take the top off of the defense. Jalen Kilgore steps in as a depth piece. So does Tucker and Capehart on the defensive line and edge rushing room, and then Taff as well in the safety room. And then this is the last one I wanted to play with. We're going to go 5 rounds again. However, we're going to make a pre-draft trade, and we're actually going to make 2 pre-draft trades. Now, this is probably unrealistic. However, we're going to do it to do it. The first trade we're going to make is we're going to send Jalen Ramsey somewhere. And I think a team that would be interested in this could potentially be the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to trade Jalen Ramsey over there for pick 74. We couldn't get 40 unless we added like 53, which I'm actually cool with that. All right, let's do that. We're going to send Jalen Ramsey and 53 to Kansas City for pick 40. And then we're also going to send Mr. Patrick Queen out of Pittsburgh, and we're going to send him to a linebacker needy team in the Dallas Cowboys, who are going to throw us pick 92 and 215, which we're then going to return. No, we're just going to do that 92 and 215 for Patrick Queen, and then we're going to start the draft. So now we have pick 21 and pick 40. Now this is where this gets interesting. Oh, Jordan Tyson's on the board. I wanted to try to play with 3 different scenarios. We did the Emmanuel Pregnon, we did the Omar Cooper Jr. So I feel like going Tyson would be redundant with the receiver theory. So I kind of want to take somewhere else. Sign Sebastian Joseph Day. If we didn't, I would take one of these 3 IDLs for sure. Actually wanted to play the right tackle, but I don't think we would just straight up replace Project Jones with using another first round pick on a tackle. And I almost want to gamble and see if we can get Ty Simpson at 40, but I'm not going to. That was going to be the third scenario I was going to play with anyways. We're going to take Ty Simpson at 21. And that pick 40. Wow. Woo! There we go. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl champs in 2026 after this one. Oh my gosh, and Keelan Rutledge. Of the one draft that I get pick 40 and I take Pregnon. I wanted Zachariah Branch to be there so bad, man, and he's not. I guess this becomes Kyle Lewis because we literally traded one of our linebackers. And then this becomes either Kamari Ramsey, Dalen Everett, or Chandler Rivers, in my opinion, because we traded Jalen Ramsey. So we're gonna go get Kamari Ramsey for Ramsey. And this is pick 92. We pick up from Dallas in the Patrick Queen trade. And this is going to be shocker. We haven't taken a receiver yet, by the way, right? We have not. This is going to be a shocker here, but guess what I'm taking? Garrett Nussmeier again. And then I think this is receiver corner. I'm not going to take Brennan Thompson this time. We're going to see if he gets to us at 121. I am going to go Malik Muhammad. I didn't realize he was still on the board here in that cornerback room. And I think these last 4 picks, I think it's some combination of wide receiver, in which Brennan Thompson is gone. I think that automatically reverts me to Kevin Coleman Jr. So we're going to take him, even though it's going to say it's early. But I just want to go ahead and get him to get him. Oh, man, Tacario Davis is here. We already took a corner, though. I see Torian York. Traded Patrick Queen, extra linebacker help is needed. There goes JC Davis. Dang it, bro. Have we taken an IDL yet? We have not. I think IDL offensive tackle is kind of like the two moves here. There's just really, I mean, we're gonna get either one of them at 159 most likely. But I'd rather secure Isaiah World than have to gamble with Diego Pounds, who ends up going at 155 anyways. And then 159, we have not gone IDL yet. Let me see who's here. Monte Capehart again, Zane Durant. To be different, we'll take Zane Durant this time around. Why not? And I just realized that they have us needed as a running back team need. No, no. Unless Jeremiah Love's at 21, then we can talk. Then we can talk. If Jeremiah Love is at 21, then we can talk about taking a running back. But we go get Ty Simpson in the first round, which that's not what I prefer. However, we're just playing with scenarios here in the video. We trade Jalen Ramsey to Kansas City for pick 40. We include pick 53 in there. So essentially, we jump up 13 spots by trading Jalen Ramsey's contract, essentially. And we get Emmanuel Pregnon there to replace left guard. Kyle Lewis and Torian York are coming in again. Malik Muhammad's coming in as a depth piece at corner. Again, Kevin Coleman Jr. is coming in as at wide receiver for a depth piece. Patrick Queen has been traded for pick 39, or sorry, for pick 92 and pick 215. Kamari Ramsey is now here as well. And Isaiah Ward and Zane Durant as depth pieces as well. I think this is probably my favorite one of the video right here. This one or the first one. That second one I didn't like a ton. But Ty Simpson's the quarterback. You got Jalen Warren and Rico at running back. Your offensive line is whoever wins the left tackle competition with Pregnon, Frazier, McCormick, and Fatanu from left guard to right tackle. Jeez, you got Muth and you got Darnell. You've got Michael Pittman Jr. You've got Kevin Coleman Jr., you've got DK Metcalf, you've got Roman Wilson. Maybe you bring in another veteran guy. I know Darnell Mooney is signed, but someone like a Darnell Mooney. And then your defense, man, is looking stout as well. And we got some contracts over there. That's the other thing about you trade Ramsey and Queen here for draft picks, man. I mean, you've got more opportunities to go sign guys, right? So that's a big thing from those two trades as well. So this has been the video. We appreciate all the love. And if you're a Steelers fan, make sure you subscribe because we will have at least one more of these 7 round mock drafts at some point for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think next week we're going to get a 2.0 on the first round. But like I said, appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate all the love, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.